One morning, my son collapsed in our living room. By nightfall, a doctor's worried questions about blood types had unraveled my entire life. After 12 years, he discovered the children weren't his, became the whispers around town. He broke down in his car and vanished. They only got half the story right. The medical tests didn't just diagnose my son. They exposed the most devastating betrayal a husband could face. But what I did next, that's the part nobody saw coming. My name is Michael Harrington. I'm 52 years old, and until last year, I thought I had the American dream locked down tight. A successful engineering firm I built from scratch, a beautiful home in suburban Connecticut, a wife of 15 years who I believed was my partner in everything, and two amazing kids who I thought were my flesh and blood. Turns out, life had other plans. Sam and I met at Northeastern University back in '97. She was studying nursing, determined and focused. I was finishing my engineering degree, equally ambitious. We clicked immediately. Both of us came from working-class backgrounds, both of us the first in our families to attend college. We understood each other's drive. After graduation, we both landed jobs in Boston, and for 5 years, we built our careers side by side. When I proposed, there wasn't a doubt in my mind that this woman would be my forever. We got married in a small ceremony with just close family and friends. Sam looked stunning that day, and I remember thinking I was the luckiest man alive. 3 years into our marriage, Sam got pregnant with Oliver. I was over the moon, building my business during the day and assembling nursery furniture at night. When I first held him, this tiny human with what I thought were my eyes, I felt complete in a way I never had before. 2 years later, Emma joined our family, and life felt absolutely perfect. As my business expanded, we moved to a larger house in a better school district. I worked long hours, but I always made time for soccer games and dance recitals. Sam's schedule at the hospital was demanding, but we made it work. We were a team, or so I believed. Looking back, there were signs, small inconsistencies in her stories about where she'd been. The way she guarded her phone, how she'd sometimes mention colleagues whose names I'd never heard before. But I dismissed these thoughts as paranoia. After all, we had built this wonderful life together. Why would I question it? That's the thing about trust. When you give it completely, you become blind to reality. The house I thought we'd built together was actually a house of cards, waiting for the slightest breeze to knock it all down. And that breeze came on a Tuesday in October last year, a day that started like any other, but ended with my entire life in pieces. If someone had told me that morning that by evening I'd discover my children weren't biologically mine, I would have laughed in their face. But that's exactly what happened. The truth doesn't care about your feelings or the life you've built. It waits patiently, and when it finally reveals itself, it changes everything. That Tuesday started like any other day. I woke up at 5:30 a.m., kissed Sam's forehead while she was still asleep, and headed to my home office to review some blueprints before heading to job site. It was my day to handle the kids, since Sam had a 12-hour shift to the hospital. Routine stuff, nothing special. The kids were on fall break from school, so they slept in while I made some calls and caught up on emails. Around 9, I made them breakfast, chocolate chip pancakes, our special tradition when they were home on weekdays. Oliver was going on about his science project, and Emma kept interrupting to show me her new dance moves. Normal kid stuff. Perfect kid stuff. I had no idea that in a few hours, my entire world would shatter. After breakfast, the kids were watching TV in the living room. I was in the kitchen cleaning up when I heard a thud. At first, I thought Oliver had just dropped something, but then I heard Emma scream. I ran into the living room to find Oliver on the floor, his body rigid, gasping for air like a fish out of water. For a second, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. Oliver. I dropped to my knees beside him. Oliver, buddy, what's wrong? His eyes were wide with panic, but he couldn't speak. His lips were turning blue. I've never felt fear like that before. Raw, primal terror. My son was dying in front of me. I scooped him up, yelling for Emma to put her shoes on. Daddy, what's happening to Ollie? Emma was sobbing, trembling as she tried to put on her sneakers. I don't know, baby, but we need to get him to the hospital right now. My voice was somehow steady, even as my hands shook violently. I carried Oliver to the car with Emma running behind us. I buckled them both in, Oliver's body still seizing, and drove like a madman toward Hartford Hospital. Every red light felt like an eternity. I kept looking in the rearview mirror, watching Oliver's chest rise and fall, praying to a God I wasn't sure I believed in. When we pulled up to the emergency entrance, I didn't even properly park the car. I just stopped, yanked Oliver out, and ran through the automatic doors. Help! My son needs help. I was shouting, my voice cracking. The emergency room staff took one look at Oliver and sprang into action. A nurse took him from my arms and placed him on a gurney. Another nurse ushered Emma and me to the side while doctors surrounded Oliver. What happened? A doctor fired questions at me. Any medical conditions? Allergies? Has this happened before? No, I stammered. Nothing. He's perfectly healthy. He just collapsed. They wheeled Oliver through double doors, and a nurse stopped me when I tried to follow. Sir, please wait here. We need space to work. We'll update you as soon as we can. I stood there, helpless, holding Emma's hand as she cried softly beside me. I realized I should call Sam, but something made me hesitate. I want to know what we were dealing with first. An hour passed before a doctor finally approached us. My shirt was damp with sweat, and my mouth was bone dry. Mr. Harrington, your son is stable now. I exhaled so hard I nearly collapsed myself. What happened to him? I asked. The doctor hesitated, glancing at his clipboard. We're running tests, but I need to ask you something that might seem strange. Do you know your son's blood type? I frowned. I assume it's a positive, like mine and my wife's. The doctor's expression changed subtly. We like to run a full blood panel, just to be safe. That was the moment, though I didn't know it yet, when the first crack appeared in the foundation of my life. A full blood panel. I repeated, trying to understand why the doctor seemed concerned. Is there something wrong with Oliver's blood? The doctor maintained his professional demeanor. It's just protocol, Mr. Harrington. We need to rule out certain conditions. I nodded, still holding him his hand. She had calmed down somewhat, but kept asking when we could see Oliver. Can I at least see my son now? I asked. Of course. Follow me. Oliver looked small in the hospital bed, and four in his arm and monitors beeping beside him. His color had improved, and he managed a weak smile when he saw us. Hey, champ, I said, my voice thick with emotion. You gave us quite a scare. Sorry, Dad, he whispered. I don't know what happened. I sat with the kids while nurses came and went, drawing blood and checking vitals. I tried calling Sam again, and this time she answered. Michael, what's up? I'm between patients. Oliver collapsed at home. We're at Hartford Hospital. He's stable, but they're running tests. Her sharp intake of breath came through the line. What? What happened? I don't know exactly. He just collapsed. The doctors are checking him now. I'll be right there, she said, her voice tight with worry. While waiting for Sam, a different doctor entered Oliver's room. He introduced himself as Dr. Levine, a hematologist. Mr. Harrington, could I speak with you outside? My stomach dropped. Specialists never bring good news. What is it? I asked once we were in the hallway. We've got some preliminary results from Oliver's blood work, he said, his tone measured. There's an abnormality that's puzzling us. What kind of abnormality? Oliver's blood type is showing as AB negative. I stared at him blankly. Okay, is that bad? Dr. Levine shifted uncomfortably. It's not about good or bad. It's about genetics. You mentioned both you and your wife have a positive blood. That's right. Mr. Harrington, it's genetically impossible for two A-positive parents to have an AB negative child. Blood types follow certain inheritance patterns. The words hit me like a physical blow. I'd studied enough science to understand basic genetics. Two A blood type parents can have children with either A or O blood types, not AB. There must be a mistake, I said automatically. We ran the test twice, he replied gently. The results were consistent. My mind raced through possibilities. Maybe there was a mix-up at birth. A hospital error. Dr. Levine's expression remained neutral. That's extremely rare these days, but we can run more comprehensive genetic testing if you'd like clarity. Clarity. As if that word could describe the chaos now swirling in my mind. Yes, I heard myself say. Run whatever tests you need. I returned to Oliver's room in a daze. He was watching cartoons with Emma now, both of them laughing at something on the screen. I studied their faces, faces I thought I knew better than my own. Oliver had Sam's nose, I'd always thought. Emma had my smile. Or did they? When Sam arrived 30 minutes later, her face was drawn with worry. She rushed to Oliver's bed, kissing his forehead and checking the monitors as only a nurse would do. What did the doctors say? She asked me. I looked at her, really looked at her, wondering if I knew her at all. They're running more tests, I said simply. Blood work mostly. Something flickered across her face. Fear. Guilt. It was gone so quickly I might have imagined it. Blood work. What are they looking for? Abnormalities, I said, watching her closely. They want to be thorough. Sam nodded, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. And in that moment, a terrible suspicion took root in my mind. The next 24 hours were the longest of my life. Oliver was kept overnight for observation, but the doctors seemed confident the episode was a one-time event, possibly triggered by stress or a mild infection. I stayed at the hospital while Sam went home with Emma. She'd offered to switch, but I insisted. I needed time to think, to prepare for what might come next. When the genetic counselor arrived the following morning, her folder tucked under her arm, I knew the moment of truth had arrived. Mr. Harrington, she extended her hand. I'm Dr. Ramirez. I'd like to go over some test results with you. We sat in a small consultation room. Oliver was being discharged soon, playing video games on a tablet Sam had brought him. We've completed the genetic analysis you requested, she said, opening her folder. Before I share the results, I want you to know that our staff is available to help you process this information. Just tell me, I said, my voice tight. She placed a paper in front of me. It contained charts, percentages, and scientific terms I barely understood. But one number stood out in bold, 0%. The DNA analysis indicates there is a 0% probability that you are Oliver's biological father, she said gently. We also ran the same test for Emma based on the samples you provided, and the results are the same. Even though I'd suspected it, hearing the confirmation knocked the wind out of me. I stared at that zero, such a small symbol to represent such enormous devastation. Mr. Harrington, Dr. Ramirez's voice seemed to come from far away. Are you all right? I wasn't all right. I would never be all right again. Does my wife know these results? I managed to ask. No. Patient confidentiality laws prevent us from sharing this information with anyone but you, as the requesting party. I nodded mechanically, folding the paper and placing it in my pocket. Thank you. Would you like to speak with one of our counselors? No. I stood up. I need to speak with my wife. I walked back to Oliver's room, where Sam was helping him pack up his things. They were laughing about something, the picture of mother and son, a picture I now knew was a lie. Ready to go home? Sam asked cheerfully. You go ahead, I said, my voice somehow steady. Take Oliver. I forgot something in the car. Once they were gone, I sat in one of the plastic chairs and pulled out my phone. With trembling fingers, I texted my business partner to handle things for a few days. Family emergency. Then I walked to my car in the parking garage, got in, locked the doors, and finally allowed the pain to overtake me. My chest heaved with violent, silent sobs that shook my entire body. I had loved those children, still loved them, with every fiber of my being. I had built a life around a family that was never really mine. I don't know how long I sat in that hospital parking garage, but eventually the tears stopped. In their place came a cold, hard resolve. I drove home, rehearsing what I would say, how I would remain calm and measure despite the hurricane raging inside me. When I pulled into our driveway, I sat for a moment, staring at the house we'd built together. Two-story colonial with a wraparound porch I'd added myself 3 summers ago. The oak tree in the front yard where I'd hung a swing for the kids. All of it suddenly felt like a movie set, perfect on the outside, hollow behind the facade. Inside, the house was quiet. Emma was napping, and Oliver was resting on the couch, still recovering from his ordeal. Sam was in the kitchen, unpacking groceries. Hey, she smiled tentatively. Oliver's doing much better. The doctor called with some follow-up instructions. I nodded, saying nothing. Michael, are you okay? I took the folded paper from my pocket and placed it on the kitchen island between us. What's this? She asked, reaching for it. Read it, I said, my voice flat. I watched her face as she unfolded the paper. Watched the color drain from her cheeks. Watched her hands begin to tremble. Michael, she whispered. I can explain. Explain what? My voice was dangerously quiet. Explain how you've been lying to me for over a decade. Explain how you let me believe those children were mine. She was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. Please, I never meant to hurt you. Well, that worked out great, I said bitterly. Who is he? Their real father. She flinched at the word real. Does it matter? It matters to me. It was a mistake. A relationship before we were serious. When I found out I was pregnant with Oliver, I panicked. I loved you so much, and I was afraid of losing you. So you lied. And then you lied again with Emma. She looked away. Emma has a different father. The room seemed to spin. Not one man, but two. Two separate betrayals. How could you? I breathed, gripping the counter to steady myself. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I'm so sorry. But they're still your children, Michael. You raised them. You love them. That's what matters. Don't tell me what matters. I snapped. You stole 12 years of my life. You let me build a family on lies. Please, she reached for my hand, but I jerked away. We can work through this. For the kids, if nothing else. For a moment, I thought about the kids. Oliver's laugh. Emma's bedtime stories. The way they called me Dad, with such trust and love. Pain shot through me so intensely I could barely breathe. I need time, I said finally. I can't be here right now. I walked upstairs to our bedroom and pulled a suitcase from the closet. Sam followed me, pleading, crying, promising it would never happen again, as if that mattered now. I packed enough for a few days, not bothering to be selective. I just needed to get out. Where are you going? Sam asked, her voice small. Away from you. I replied, zipping the suitcase closed. I checked into the Hartford Marriott that night. The room was sterile and impersonal, exactly what I needed. No family photos. No children's toys scattered across the floor. No reminders of the life I thought I had. My phone buzzed constantly with Sam's texts and calls. I ignored them all. Around 9 p.m., I finally checked the messages. Please come home. We need to talk about this. The kids are asking for you. Michael, please. I'm begging you. The last one stopped me. Oliver keeps asking if you're mad at him for getting sick. That broke something inside me. I called her back. Let me talk to him, I said when she answered. A moment later, Oliver's small voice came through the phone. Dad, hey, buddy, I said, fighting to keep my voice normal. How are you feeling? Better. Are you mad at me? No, Ollie. I could never be mad at you. I just had to work late, that's all. Mom's been crying, he said quietly. I closed my eyes, squeezing the bridge of my nose. That's grown-up stuff, buddy. Don't worry about it. When are you coming home? Soon, I lied. I promise. Can you put your sister on? Emma's voice was small and unsure. Daddy, where are you? I'm just at work, sweetie. I'll see you soon, okay? 'Kay. Love you. Love you too, Em. When Sam came back on the line, I kept my voice cold. Don't use the kids against me. I'm not, she protested. They really are asking for you. I need time to think. Michael, please. Come home. We can figure this out. Figure what out? I snapped. How to unlie to me for 12 years. How to make me the actual father of those kids. It's too late for that, Sam. They are your kids, she insisted. In every way that matters. I hung up without responding. 3 days passed. I went through the motions at work, moved through meetings like a ghost. My partner, Dave, knew something was wrong, but had the good sense not to push. Sam kept calling. I kept ignoring her. I bought new clothes rather than go home for my things. At night, alone in that hotel room, I'd scroll through photos on my phone. Oliver's last birthday, Emma's dance recital, family trips to the beach. I'd built my entire identity around being their father. Who was I now? On the 4th day, Dave cornered me in my office. What's going on with you, Mike? You look like hell. I hadn't told anyone yet. Saying it out loud would make it real. Sam and I are having problems, I said finally. Dave raised an eyebrow. Problems like she spent too much on Amazon, or problems like I'm staying at a hotel. Problems like the kids aren't mine. His face fell. Jesus, Mike. Are you sure? I nodded. DNA test. 0%. What are you going to do? I looked out the window at the city I'd helped build, one project at a time. I have no idea. A week passed. I moved from the Marriott to an extended stay place with a kitchenette. It felt more permanent, which scared me. Was this my life now? Living in a corporate apartment, avoiding the family I once cherished? I spoke to the kids every night on the phone, my heart breaking with each conversation. I told them I was working on a big project out of town. The lies came easily, just another foundation of sand. Sam's calls had become less frequent, but her texts continued. She oscillated between apologetic and defensive. I know what I did was wrong, but they are still your children. You're punishing innocent kids for my mistake. They miss you. I miss you. Please come home. On the 8th day, I met with a lawyer. His office was downtown, all glass and chrome. When I explained my situation, his expression remained professionally neutral, but I caught the flash of pity in his eyes. Connecticut is a no-fault divorce state, he explained, sliding papers across his desk. The biological paternity issue complicates things, but it doesn't change the fundamentals. What about the kids? I asked. Do I have any rights? You've acted as their father for their entire lives, which gives you standing as a psychological parent. But if the biological father steps forward, things get murky. I don't think that's likely, I said bitterly. He nodded. Then we can file for legal custody or visitation, depending on what you want. What did I want? I've been asking myself that question for days. I need time to think about it, I said. That night, I finally called Sam. We needed to talk, and not by text. Michael. Her voice was cautious, hopeful. We need to discuss what happens next, I said. Come home, she pleaded. We could talk here. No. Meet me at West Side Diner tomorrow at noon. Don't bring the kids. She agreed, and I hung up before she could say more. The next day, I arrived early and chose a booth at the back. When Sam walked in, I was shocked by her appearance. She'd lost weight, and dark circles shadowed her eyes. For a moment, I felt a flash of concern, quickly replaced by anger. She didn't get to be the victim here. She slid into the booth across from me. Thank you for meeting me. I pushed a manila envelope toward her. Divorce papers. My lawyer says we can do this relatively quickly. Her face crumpled. Michael, please. Don't throw away 15 years. We can work through this. Work through this. I repeated incredulously. You lied to me about the most fundamental aspect of our relationship. You let me believe those children were mine for 12 years. They are yours, she insisted. Maybe not biologically, but in every way that matters. That should have been my choice to make, I said. You took that choice away from me. You took away my agency, my informed consent to this family. Tears slid down her cheeks. What about the kids? They're innocent in all this. That was the question that kept me up at night. The kids were innocent, but every time I looked at them, would I see her betrayal? I want to see the kids, I told Sam, but not at the house. We'd been at the diner for an hour, going in circles. The divorce papers sat between us, and signed. Where then? She asked. I'll pick them up Saturday. Take them to the park, maybe lunch. And what will you tell them about why you haven't been home? It was the question I'd been dreading. I'll tell them that you and I are having some grown-up problems, but that we both love them very much. Sam nodded slowly. And the divorce? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. She reached across the table, her fingers stopping just short of mine. What if there's another way? What if we try to save this? Save what? I asked bitterly. A marriage built on lies. A family, she countered. 2 children who adore you, who need you. I pulled my hand back. I need time to think. Saturday came quickly. I picked up the kids at noon, my heart hammering as I pulled into the driveway of what used to be my home. Oliver and Emma burst out the front door when they saw my truck, running toward me with wide smiles. Dad! Oliver crashed into me with the force of his excitement. You're back. Emma wrapped her arms around my waist. We missed you so much. I hugged them tightly, breathing in the familiar scent of their shampoo, feeling the solid warmth of them in my arms. In that moment, DNA seemed like the most meaningless thing in the world. Sam stood in the doorway, watching us. I nodded to her, but didn't approach. We spent the day at Bushnell Park. I pushed him on the swings and played catch with Oliver. We got ice cream and rode the carousel. For a few hours, I forgot about the DNA test, the betrayal, all of it. They were just my kids, and I was just their dad. But reality crashed back when it was time to take them home. As we drove back, Oliver asked the question I'd been dreading. Dad, are you and Mom getting a divorce like Jake's parents? I gripped the steering wheel tighter. Who's Jake? A kid in my class. His dad moved out, and then they got divorced. I glanced in the rearview mirror. Both kids were watching me intently. Your mom and I are having some problems right now, I said carefully. We're trying to figure things out. Is it because of me getting sick? Oliver asked in a small voice. No, buddy. Absolutely not. This has nothing to do with you or your sister. Then why won't you come home? Emma's voice was trembling. I pulled over to the side of the road and turned to face them. Listen to me. Both of you. I love you more than anything in the world. Nothing will ever change that. Not ever. This stuff with your mom and me, it's complicated grown-up stuff. But none of it is your fault. But you'll still be her dad, right? Oliver asked. The question hit me like a physical blow. Of course I will. Always. When we got back to the house, Sam invited me in for dinner. I declined. Please, she said quietly. Just dinner. For the kids. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Dinner was awkward. Sam tried too hard. The kids were too quiet. And I felt like an outsider in my own home. After the kids went to bed, Sam poured us both a glass of wine and sat across from me at the kitchen island. They missed you, she said softly. I missed them too. Michael, what are we doing here? What's the end game? I stared into my wine glass. I don't know. Do you think you could ever forgive me? Her voice was barely audible. Could I? I tried to imagine a future where I woke up beside her every day, knowing what I knew now. A future where I suppressed the anger and betrayal for the sake of keeping our family intact. I don't know that either, I admitted. She reached for my hand, and this time, I didn't pull away. I love you. I've always loved you. What I did was wrong, I know that. But these past weeks without you, it's been hell. For me too, I said. But love isn't the issue here, Sam. It's trust. I don't know if I can ever trust you again. Let me earn it back, she pleaded. Day by day. For as long as it takes. I left that night without making any promises. Back at my extended stay apartment, I paced the small living area, weighing my options. Stay and try to rebuild on a cracked foundation, or walk away and start fresh, knowing I'd be losing the two people I loved most in the world. The next morning, I called my lawyer. I need to ask you something hypothetical. If I decide to stay, to try and make this marriage work despite the paternity issue, what are the legal implications? Legally, nothing changes. You're still their father in the eyes of the law unless someone challenges it. The biological father, for instance. And if I divorce, that's more complicated. You'd have to petition for custody or visitation as a psychological parent. It's not automatic like it would be for a biological parent. After hanging up, I sat at my small kitchen table with a pad of paper, doing what I always did when faced with a complex problem. I made a list of pros and cons engineers' approach to emotional chaos. Pros of staying. The kids would have stability. I wouldn't lose my daily relationship with them. Our family unit would remain intact, at least outwardly. Cons. Living with the constant reminder of Sam's betrayal. Never knowing if she was lying about other things. Always wondering about the biological fathers out there somewhere. I was still staring at the list when my phone rang. It was Dave. How are you holding up? He asked. Still figuring things out, I said. I saw the kids yesterday, and it killed me to say goodbye to them again. Dave was quiet for a moment. Mike, can I ask you something? If you had known from the beginning, if Sam had told you she was pregnant by someone else, would you have stayed? The question caught me off guard. I don't know. Because the way I see it, you've been their dad for 12 years. That's real. The DNA isn't. After we hung up, I sat for a long time, thinking about what David said. Then I called Sam. We need to talk, I said. I've made a decision. 6 months later, I stood in my new apartment, unpacking the last of my boxes. It was a nice place, 3 bedrooms, so Oliver and Emma each had their own room for when they stayed with me, which was every other week. The divorce had been finalized 3 months ago. In the end, I couldn't rebuild a marriage on the foundation of such profound betrayal. Some structures are too damaged to be saved. Sam had cried when I told her my decision, but she didn't fight it. Maybe she knew she didn't have a right to. Dad, where's my PlayStation? Oliver called from his room. Check the box labeled Oliver's Electronics. I called back. It was Saturday morning, the beginning of my week with the kids. We'd fallen into a rhythm with the custody arrangement, and while it wasn't perfect, it was working. The kids had adjusted better than I'd expected, though there were still moments of confusion and sadness. Emma came into the living room, clutching the stuffed rabbit she'd had since she was 3. Daddy, can we get pizza for lunch? Sure, sweetheart. Why don't you and Oliver pick a place while I finish unpacking? She nodded and ran off to consult with her brother. I smiled, watching her go. Her dark hair and expressive eyes were nothing like mine. I knew that now. But her laugh, her curiosity, her stubbornness, those were traits she'd learned from me. Nature versus nurture. In the end, nurture had won out. My phone buzzed with a text from Sam. Kids forget their swim stuff? It's still on their beds. I'll pick it up tomorrow, I replied. Our communication was cordial now, focused entirely on the kids. We'd never be friends, but we'd found a way to be parents together, even as we lived separate lives. I never did learn who the biological fathers were. Sam offered to tell me, but I decided it didn't matter. I was their father, not by blood, but by choice. Every day, every year, every skin knee and bedtime story and school project. Those were the things that made a father. The doorbell rang. It was Dave and his wife, Lisa, bringing a housewarming gift, a bottle of expensive bourbon. "Place looks great," Dave said, looking around. "How's it feel?" "Like a fresh start," I admitted. Later, after Dave and Lisa left and the kids were engrossed in a movie, I sat on my balcony with a glass of Dave's bourbon. I thought about the man I'd been a year ago, confident in my perfect life, blind to the truth beneath the surface. I thought about the man I'd become, more cautious, maybe, but also more authentic. The lies had been exposed, the pain endured, and somehow I'd come out the other side. Someone once told me, after they heard about what happened, after 12 years, he discovered the kids weren't his. He broke down in his car, crying uncontrollably, and never came back. But that wasn't the whole story. Yes, I discovered the kids weren't biologically mine. Yes, I broke down. But I did come back, not to the marriage, but to being a father, because some bonds transcend biology. Some foundations, once built, can withstand even the most devastating tremors. Oliver appeared at the balcony door. "Dad, the movie's over. Can we play that new board game now?" I smiled and stood up. "Absolutely, buddy. Let's do it." This wasn't the life I had planned, but it was real, honest, and ours. And for now, that was enough.